Hi, I'm the internet's Rich from Rip City Retro. This summer, superstar point guard Damian Lillard made a trade request from the Portland Trail Blazers and specifically asked to be traded to the Miami Heat. Weeks have gone by with little to no progress, and there are hurt feelings on all sides. But today, I'm asking you to think about the one true victim in this standoff, the one person this stalemate silently and devastatingly hurts the most. I'm talking, of course, about Will Smith. Just think of all the times our lazy sports media, when talking about Dame going to the Heat, would play Will Smith's iconic Miami from 1998's Big Willie style, track 8, by the way. The residuals from just Mark Jones alone, reciting the lyrics during Heat games broadcast on ESPN, would be astronomical. The entire world reconnecting with that iconic song would have us all going, yeah. Now, I know Dame's legacy, Tyler Hero's reputation, the Blazers, the Heat, Joe Cronin, Pat Riley, yeah. None of that matters right now. Will Smith needs this, okay? Since his post-Oscar slap of Chris Rock, Will Smith has been badly in need of a win, whether it be in the form of Hollywood completely forgetting that the slap ever happened, to Jada getting a gig that takes her away from the house. Since neither of those things are likely to happen, this Dame trade to Miami is Will's last hope for true happiness. So Blazers management and Heat management, won't you help Will Smith? It's almost Labor Day, and there's not much time left this summer for party in the city where the heat is on, all night on the beach till the break of dawn. Do this for Will. Pick up the phone and make the call today so that the next time Will says to us, "Can y'all feel me?" we can say, "Yes, Will, we can feel you." Now let's start the show.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Welcome into Rip City Retro Extra. My name is Rich Finley. It's a Friday. Hello to everybody out there. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. This is the Rip City Retro channel. We talk about all things Portland Trail Blazers, really the NBA overall, but we try to focus on the Portland Trail Blazers and sometimes the Miami Heat because we have to talk about the Heat. But want to thank you all for being here. If this is your first time here, please click like, share, subscribe. Please click like on the video before you watch this crap. But thank you to all of you who comment on the videos. Your guys' comments, quite frankly, keep this show going. So please put your comments below on what we talk about. Today is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to look at Dame's recent comments that he gave during a sit-down interview with Mark Spears, of all people, which kind of caught me a little off guard. I wonder how Chris Hayes felt about that. Right? That's kind of how I looked at it for Chris Hayes. Yes, Chris, we understand. It's very upsetting. But we're going to look at that, and we're going to go over your guys' comments. You can support the show by Venmo and the CashApp at RichCease3, or you could go over to riskcitystore.com. It's free to look over there. And you guys can get you a brand new shirt. There's the Rip City Retro I'm in Super Duper Win Now mode shirt. There's the Jody Time to Sell shirt. And all kinds of other things over there, so just take a look. Now, let's get into this video. So, this video came out with Mark Spears, and it's not very long. It's part of a bigger overall interview that Dame did with Mark Spears, and we'll address that here in a second. What else wasn't in the video? But let's just talk about the video right now because, look, people, Daddy does not do a lot of things well, okay? There are a lot of women all around the world going, ladies, I'm sorry. But if there is one thing that I do well, this thing, it is a BS detector. And I can watch interviews and press conferences and stuff like that, and I can tell you what people are saying and what they're not saying and kind of drill down in a situation. So when I saw this interview come out of Dame, I was shocked, quite frankly, that we even got one at this juncture. Now, I always thought he was going to do the sit-down interview with somebody once he got traded. But I didn't expect it this soon, and especially during negotiations. I have some thoughts on that. We'll get to that in a second. But let's just go ahead and play the video. I'm going to put in my little handy dandy headphones here. As we did with the Joe Cronin video. And we're just going to watch this little press conference, start and stop press conference. So we're going to watch this interview with Dame, and I'm going to start and stop. And we're basically going to look at what he says and what he doesn't say. And I'm going to tell you how to peer through all this to kind of get at the truth of the situation. So let's go ahead and start the video.
That brought you uncertainty about the future of the Blazers franchise. I'm not going to speak on the Blazers. It's a lot of love and respect, but I won't speak on the Blazers.
Okay. This is kind of what I expected that he would say. I don't know if Dame is going to retain this level of commitment to not talking about the Blazers. This could be, right now, what Dame has to do in terms of not ruffling any feathers with the league, as we all know what's happened with the memo and stuff like that. But also in terms of, hey, I want these people to trade me where I want to go. So if I speak out, I might rile them up even more, and they may not acquiesce with me. And when you think about it, Dame's capital right now, like the capital that he has in his hand, is the unknown. The unknown of what he could say, what he could share, what he could divulge. Sometimes in life, this thing, not knowing what this could turn into, like 99% of the time, is always way worse than what the reality actually is. It's kind of like a draft pick, right? Like once you make the pick, and the pick is actually a human being that has flaws and weaknesses and strengths and all that kind of stuff, that's one thing. But trading for a draft pick can be like, oh my gosh, imagine what that pick could turn into. It works the same way in reverse. Like, oh, imagine all the terrible things Dame could say if we don't hurry up and get him traded before trading camp. Like, all of that this is the collateral that Dame has. So right now, Dame's saying, I don't want to speak on the Trailblazers. Obviously, he kind of has to say that, but the way he's going about it and the way that he's saying it, it's very smart on his part to deal with it in this manner. Now, let's also look at what he said. He said, there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of love there. So, what happened? What could possibly have happened to make Damian Lillard have a lot of love there and want to be traded and not want to speak on the Blazers? Because if it was coming from just a loving place of, look, we tried this thing for 11 years. Certain realities kicked in. We lost Paul. We made some moves that did not work out. We reached an impasse with our roster in terms of like CJ and things like that. We traded away CJ, and then we got fortunate in getting Shaden. We got fortunate in getting the number 3 pick, and I see all these young guys coming into the franchise, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them just like I was when I came into the franchise in 2012. And I see where this team is going, and I want this team to do well. This team drafted me. I became a man at this team. I became a husband and a father. And, like, there are so many ways. If this is all just, there's love here. There's love here. I just reached this point. That is not what happened here. So, the fact that there's all this love here, but I don't want to speak on the Blazers. I think if you've been following this channel, if you've been following Blazers Uprise with Tori and Eric, I think you kind of have an idea of what's going on here. If you've seen the Joe Cronin video, breaking down all the press conferences and all the promises and things like that. We know what went down here, but let's keep going.
It's well documented that there have been a trade request. Is to the Miami Heat. Is there anything that you could say about the trade request?
I can say that there was, and I would just prefer not to speak on the Trailblazers.
Again, could have ended that statement at, I can't confirm that there's been a trade request. To tack on at the end, I just don't want to speak on the Trailblazers. That comes from why the trade request was made. And there's nothing wrong with talking about, the circumstances of the moment dictated that the team go in this direction. Like, you can do that if you want to do that. If you want to say, man, all these dominoes kind of fell into place where it just made more sense for them to go young. Like, you can totally do that. And Dame has not had a problem in the past saying things like, that route is not my route. He specifically said that. So I'm not going to speak on the Trailblazers. Right after saying, I can confirm there was a trade request, why are you saying you don't want to speak on the Trailblazers again? It's because that trade request was made because of the Trailblazers. This is a cause and effect in Dame's mind. The way he's communicating this, I don't even know if he, look, Dame's very smart. He's very calculated in everything that he does. But this just felt like a natural progression in his mind. I can confirm there was a trade request, and I just don't want to talk on the Blazers. That's because the reason for the trade request is the Blazers. And it's not, they've got a lot of young talent and we're not right for each other right now. That is not what went on here.
Oftentimes with you, the word loyalty comes up. How do you balance loyalty with getting the best for you?
I've always said that I'm loyal to who I am, and I'm going to do what I feel like is the right thing to do. This is the vision I have for myself. This is what I see being fit for me. At this moment, I'm going to ride that until the wheels fall off.
So, if you're a fan of Damian Lillard, like I assume we all are if you're here, this is completely aligned with everything that we've heard from him, what he's saying right here about loyalty, and in terms of being true to himself. And I'm going to ride that till the wheels fall off. Now, some people might look at this and go, whoa, why the trade request? What he's saying here, pay attention to what he's saying. Pay attention to what he's not saying as well. But pay attention to what he's saying. What he's saying here is, I am loyal to myself and the things that I believe in, which are loyalty, honesty. There are many quotes out there that he went to Jody Allen, he went to Chauncey, he went to Joe Cronin and said, are we trying to win here? And the answer back to him, that actually was a condition of his extension that he signed. Are we trying to win here? And they all said, oh, yes, we're trying to win here. We are really close to super duper win now mode. So that's all Dame was being told. So now, being asked this question about loyalty and doing the best for himself, he's saying, I have to be loyal to what I believe in, which means treating people right. Show me a story, any story, in an 11-year NBA career, which is pretty public, of Damian Lillard not treating people well, being disrespectful to a fan, being disrespectful to some person that works at the Moda Center, being disrespectful to a waiter or waitress. There are none. This, look, you can look at this channel and think I'm a fanboy and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the fact you call me a boy, thank you for the compliment. But Dame is just a wonderful person from a character standpoint. You may not even like his game. You might go, oh, well, the Blazers are going to be so much better. Yeah. this is a wonderful person. And the way he treats people, it's all part of who he is and what he believes in. And if somebody looks him in the face and says, we're going to do X, and then they go and do Y, to himself, I'm sure Lillard feels like it would be a betrayal of what he believes in to still support that person if they now have taken away X and they're going to do Y. It just makes all the sense in the world, right? Let's go on.
But, anything that I'm a part of, it all has to be connected. That's what I'm loyal to.
What are your championship dreams and aspirations now as a 33-year-old?
That's literally the thing at the top of my list. When I wake up and I got to get up and go do what I got to do. I got to make time for my kids, and I still got to lift, and I got to do all these things, and I got to make sure that training and the preparation is still my priority. You need something that you feel pretty strong about to stay committed the way I've been committed, and it's as high as it's gonna get. Like that's ultimately what I want to experience, and that's what I want to get done.
Okay, so the thing about winning and winning a championship and how committed he is to it, none of that is a big surprise. Again, like I said, this interview was relatively short. It's part of a bigger piece that Mark Spears wrote. You can go online and try to find. I think I'll link it in the comments below, I'll link it in the description of this video below. I grabbed another part of the article from Mark Spears, and here it is. Time will tell if Lillard gets his wish to go to Miami, but with the NBA watching and listening and his reputation for professionalism, it's unlikely that Lillard will go the hardened verbal tirade route publicly. Lillard said he's been receiving counsel, most notably from former Blazers teammate Mo Williams, former teammates Earl Watson, Dorrell Wright, and Chris Kaman. Dame. Never mind. And Los Angeles Clippers assistant coach and Oakland, California native Brian Shaw. Okay, that's the first name where I'm like, okay, yeah, Brian Shaw. Get it. So, the consensus advice for Lillard is to be patient. The best word of advice is just that everything will come to pass, Lillard said. When you are in a little bit of a storm, a lot is going on, and you're being talked about, you get a little antsy, and you feel like you got to react to stuff sometimes. But I know me. I know the type of principle I stand on. I know that I've been solid in everything that I've done every step of the way. Again, like all of these comments, just, if I didn't believe it before 100%, I'm like 1,000%, like 1,000,000%, that this dude was lied to. It's pretty obvious, right? This is not, I've seen a couple people do the chasing rings situation. This is not that. Quite frankly, he wants to go to Miami because he's good friends with Bam. And if there's an organization that he can target that is going to try to win, and he can believe that, it's the Miami Heat. So, yeah. Okay, let's read on. It'll pass, and I know it will. Talking about this storm. When something has to be said and needs to be said about me, my character, and what I stand on, it will be. This too shall pass, as they say, and I'll be all right. With Lillard's life on hold, he has traveled this summer to Paris, the Dominican Republic, and Italy, spent a lot of time with his children, and has been getting deeper into his spirituality. Some people might say, where's the Mitch spending time with his wife? No, we don't. No, we're not. No, let's read on. We're not talking about that. Last week, Dame Dollar, his rap name, released his newest rap album, Don Dollar, with 15 tracks that include Miami's own Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Jordan Sparks, Ty Dolla $ign, Mosey, and Toby Nigwe. What? Brookfield Deuce? No mention? Mark Spears? Come on. There's also a song named after ESPN NBA play-by-play announcer Mike Breen, in which Brookfield Deuce appears on. He said, I would have my fans listen to a track called Judgment Day, Lillard said. In Judgment Day, I talk a lot about the present and my journey spiritually that I've been on for the last year or so. There's a lot more depth to it, and I've taken it a lot more serious. Actually, walking it out, it's helped me realize some of the things that I struggle with, some of the things personally that I struggle with, some of the things that I want to change about myself and about my ways. It's not anything dramatic. It's just that stability and that discipline part of things. That's the song where I just talk about my feelings, how I feel about certain things, where my mind is in certain situations, and I think people would enjoy that song. It is transparent. It is really open. And I listened to it, and I really liked it. And, I mean, you can definitely tell in the song that he's communicating from the heart. And all of this stuff, quite frankly, him talking about where he's had to tweak some things in his personality, some things about himself that he doesn't like. I'm just spitballing here. But if you look at the situation with the Blazers the last couple of years, one thing that Dame might struggle with is, hey, when I put my name on something, when I put my word on something, like, no, I'm going to stay in Portland for the long haul. I don't need a championship. I'm not going to ring chase. I'm loyal here. I'm loyal to the soil, 10 toes deep, et cetera, et cetera. He may have looked at that and been like, but does that apply if I'm being lied to? Do I put myself in a position to be taken advantage of by doing and saying those things when people know where I stand and they're like, oh, he's not gonna go anywhere. So that's how I read the situation. But I want to hear what you guys think. Obviously the interview is very truncated. It's very small. We'll get the mega piece later, probably from Chris Hayes.
Son of a bitch!
Yes, Chris. But I'd love to know what you guys think about this little interview that we got, this little snippet. What do you think are behind Dame's words? What do you think are behind what he's not saying about the Blazers and why he says he doesn't want to speak on the Blazers? I'd love to hear what you guys think, and then we can have a bigger conversation about it when I do a follow-up video on your comments. So please comment below. Now, speaking of which, let's get into your guys' comments, and then we'll get out of here, and you guys have an amazing weekend. Okay, let's go to, first comment, it's on another page. Debo-tastic, who grabbed himself a I'm in super duper win now mode shirt. Debo, I saw your tracking. It will go out, I think it goes out today. So you should have it one day next week. So let me know when you get it. Take a picture. We'll show it on the show if you want to. But Debo-tastic said, thanks for telling your Blazer fan origin story. Yes, just I got bathed in radioactive blood from Bill Walton. But no. Thanks for telling your Blazer fan origin story. When your inevitable Marvel movie, the Super Blazer Fan Man, I think a lot of people would die just in me arriving and telling, I'm Super Blazer Fan. Oh, damn it. But when your Marvel movie comes out and of course gets rebooted years later, hopefully they don't do yet another origin story superhero movie. For real though, glad you weren't a bandwagon frontrunner. Well, that's kind of obvious, right? That's one thing you definitely never will be accused of by being willing to pick the Blazers. Yeah, that's true. It's so funny, when I started pulling for the team in 1988, and then they got really good when they traded for Buck Williams, and we went to the finals in 90, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. But I mean, look, those were amazing years. And I mean, I was so young at the time, I was like, well, this is just basketball, right? I mean, this is just the way life is. Kind of probably like how Paul Allen looked at it too. He's like, I buy the team. A couple years later, we're in the finals, compete for champ. This is just life. But anyway, thank you for the comment. Hope you like your shirt. Let me know. GDBSSA. GD Bissa. This is the best thing that could have happened. We've been a better version of the Wizards for nearly a decade in the West. A better version of Wizards. That's kind of interesting. You know, you hear that as a Blazer fan, you're like, oh, Wizards. But then you think, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Dame, well, kind of interesting little comp there. We've been a better version of the Wizards for nearly a decade in the West. It's time for Dame to contend and the Sharp and Scoot era to begin. Well, I don't know if it's time, but it's gonna happen. So we'll see what happens. Kevin Johnson says, what are your thoughts on Media Day for the Blazers? I think they should have it. Oh, you have more. If they bring Dame back, do they use him in promotional items? Whew, man. You know, I thought it was really interesting when they did the promotional item and Nurk was on there with Jeremy and they didn't have Scoot on there. I'm like, okay, so Dame's not there, but Scoot's not there too, and Nurk's there? Like that was just bizarre to me. If they brought Dame back, yeah, they probably would. They probably would use him in promotional items. I mean, you know, there's so many prepackaged things for the Blazers, like opening credits and stuff like that, even though they've got a new television producer now from ESPN. But, yeah, I think they probably would use him, but boy, that would be kind of weird, right? You go on to say, will it be all about Scoot and Murray? I don't know if it's going to be about Murray. Will it be all about Scoot and Murray like during Dame's rookie year when it was all about him and Myers and nothing about Aldridge or Batum or Matthews? That's interesting. I'm really interested in seeing how the Blazers PR team is going to handle this mess. They're just going to be cleaning up wine on a carpet. Just like, why is it getting bigger? Like, that's how the Blazers PR team will handle it. There's a good questions though. I mean, look, obviously if they go young, I mean, this is just going to be a Scoot Shaden show. And if they're smart, Ant as well to drive up Ant's, price for the trade deadline. Just my 2 cents. Benjamin said, I was down on the Blazers after the Drexler trade. I also started liking the Raptors since they had drafted Damon Stoudemire. My Blazer fandom recovered when we got Damon, though. Yeah, I remember being excited when we got Damon, too. Which was interesting, though, because Kenny Anderson was fine. And some of Damon's weaknesses on the defensive end, I don't think we would have suffered had we held on to Kenny Anderson. And then obviously, but when you bring in Pippen, and obviously Stoudemire was already on the team, but when you bring in Pippen, now you don't really need a ball dominant point guard, because Pippen's going to run the show. And that's why Stoudemire's game, really changed when Pippen came. But thanks for the comment. Benjamin again said, I was still a big Cliff fan and thought James Robinson might be good. Oh, Hollywood. I liked Hollywood too. James Hollywood Robinson, for those of you who don't know, chewed a lot of gum. Like really hard. Just big hands, had big hands, and could jump out of the gym. And I remember really liking Hollywood a lot. I don't really know what ended up happening to him post Blazers career. I don't think he hung around the league for terribly long. Wasn't a very good shooter. Had incredible athleticism that he probably got by on, understandably, for a long time while he was young. I think he was from Alabama, is where he was drafted out of. So yeah, I liked Hollywood a lot, and obviously Cliff as well. Cliff was, an infuriating player at times, and kind of like Duckworth in a weird way, which is funny because Cliff was always in amazing shape, and Duckworth, struggled with being in good shape. But I was the same about Cliff that I was about Duck. I believed in Cliff so much, And when he would have some playoff flameouts or like kind of a bonehead or whatever, I was always like, you're so much better than that. But anyway, Alex Wolf, who has been really nice to me lately in the Blazers Uprise chat rooms and stuff like that. Thank you, Alex. It's always good to see you, and thanks for saying hi. He was talking about, so this was talking about Dame unfollowing the Blazers on Instagram. Yes. And Alex said, Dame also took Joe out of his top 8 on MySpace. MySpace. I have a MySpace story to tell you guys. We may have to do a Rib City Retro After Dark episode. MySpace saved my life one time. It's a long story. We'll talk about it. I caught a girl cheating because of MySpace. It's an amazing story. I'll tell you another time. John Nash said, I may be in the minority, the lunatic fringe, but hear me out. Okay, John, let's do this. If there were the right combination to make the Dame trade, it would have happened by now. Well, my only pushback on that, John, is I definitely think this franchise is hoping for the draw out of our emotions, so that we just feel like we've been going through the desert, and at the end of this thing we're just going to be like, water, please, can I just have some Jokic, like, please, just anything, water. Like, I think they want a lot of that. I think they anticipate the closer they make the trade to the season, or even in season, but especially if they make it right before the season, the closer they make it to the season, they can kind of Indiana Jones this thing like the bag of sand and go, no, we didn't disappoint you. Look, it's a new thing. Look at that. Look at Scoot and Shaden. I think they really want that from a PR standpoint, and they think that that's going to work. I've said it again. Look, I am not a member of the media. I'm not, anything. That goes for a lot of things. But I really hope our media does a good job and asks tough questions. Please do that. You go on to say, Dame would have been strongly marketed toward the season ticket campaign, which also hasn't happened. Millions are on the line, so there wouldn't be any half-hearted decisions to make. Whatever's decided is profound and permanent. I think, for what it's worth, that an argument in principle that waiting for contracts in Miami and potentially other teams to mature that are untradeable, like Orlando, until December 16th or later, depending on when they were signed. This is a waiting game to acquire more assets that the Blazers need, like center Orlando Robinson, just said that, who's the same age as Scoot and shows a lot of promise for a young team. Yeah, I like Robinson a lot too. I would love to have him. Those are all great points, John. I totally agree. Diablo 2689 said, I think this may be that 70s game the listener referenced. Listener referenced a Blazer game where they were down 7 points. Well, John, was it you? Down 7 points with like 13 seconds left. I watched this video. That was not, it seems, to be that game. But this was an amazing buzzer beater by Lionel Hollins.
Here's Corky Calhoun. 4 seconds now. Lionel Hollins. Van Leer's there. Hollins outside. It's in at the buzzer. I don't believe it. The Portland Trailblazers have won it at the buzzer. Lionel Hollins. Walton is out there hugging Hollins. No time at all left on the clock. Van Leer can't believe it.
Yeah, so that's just an amazing buzzer beater. I don't think it was that game, but that was a great find. So thank you for sending that. Kevin Johnson said, Rich, you have the perfect name for an 80s NBA player. I can hear Marv Albert shouting, Rich Finley hits the 3 for the lead. Yes, he's on fire. Well, thank you. I mean, it would probably be Finley again with another unfortunate public statement. Just whatever. But anyway, but thank you for that. That was really funny. And that's going to do it for today's comments. So you guys have your assignment. Comment below. Tell me, what did you think about Dame's interview with Mark Spears? No, not that. What did you think? Or in between his comments, read between the lines. Tell me how you took it. I would love to hear it. Go over to RizCityStore.com. You can buy yourself something. It's free to look. And I just appreciate each and every one of you guys so much. There may be a little bit of news next week. This show may be going on the road. I may be appearing on a different show next week. You're still going to get your Rip City Retro content, but I may be appearing somewhere else next week, so we'll talk about that next week, and I will let you guys know ahead of time. But in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. My name's Rich Finley. Thank you for being here. If you haven't done it already, click like, share, subscribe. Shout out to all the subscribers of the channel. Deeply appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, click the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.